Okay, and welcome to another edition of Educating with Ease. I'm Todd Bauer, Superintendent in North Penn School District. Educating with Ease, just a reminder, is elevating learning, engaging the community, ensuring belonging, and exceeding expectations. This is our maybe third episode in 2024. We are filming this, or recording this, I guess, not film. What is film? Who knows? On February 22nd, 2024. That's 2222024. And I'm excited about today's guest, someone else from around the district, just to get to know the individual. And for those of you who just joined, we haven't really recycled the purpose of the pod in quite a while. But the whole point here is just to try to make our large community a bit smaller, have meaningful conversations, get to know one another, and really share out the wonderful work that people are doing across the North Penn School District. Speaking of wonderful people, my co-host, gosh, this person here, I'm going to turn up that music just a little bit. My co-host is one of the best people you could ever meet, and a legend in the North Penn / Lansdale community, Mr. Bob Gilmer. Bob, come on in here. There it is. There's your little dance. You do that little shimmy every time, by the way. That's like your signature move.
It does go with my move. Yeah, what a great week. It's warming up a little bit again, so that's good. Feels like snow's a little bit behind us. That's nice here in February. So how's the rest of your February been going, Dr. Bauer?
February's been pretty good. I have said on the pod a few times that I love to ski, and my skiing escapades have not been frequent since early January. But I went on Monday, which was President's Day, with my son for a few hours. That was really nice. And hopefully some trips here now that their basketball seasons are winding down. And when I say there, I mean my children. Hopefully we can get away and ski a little bit before all that snow goes away. But I did hear Saturday's supposed to be like freezing. Like 10 degrees or something. I don't know. But then it warms up.
That's the one thing, man. I have just gotten into I understand the need to move to Florida when you retire. As I get older, I'm just not a fan of the cold. I am just going from warm to warm. I don't usually wear warm things. Just tired of being cold. But I look forward to warmer temps. I know it doesn't help your skiing, but the groundhog is supposed to be telling us we have an early spring. Things that are not true. So I'm looking forward to it warming up.
Look, Bob, I don't need snow in Pennsylvania. We do a lot of our skiing up north.
There's snow other places.
Yeah, I can go to snow. We don't need it here.
Yeah.
It makes my job harder.
Oh, my gosh.
Speaking of snow and all those things, I have received a few inquiries lately about graduation.
Sure.
Thus far, we have only used virtual days, 2 of them, I believe. Is it 2 or 3, Bob?
2.
I think it's 2.
Right? Did we do one in December?
I don't think so. There was that rainstorm that some of our local districts did.
Yeah.
But we did not. So we've had 2. We have not had a snow day. So as of right now, the last day of school is June 11th. Last day for staff is June 12th. So we'll see. But we announced that once we are certain that all the snow is behind us before we announce a graduation date. Unlike other districts, we don't have alternatives, Bob, right? Because North Penn is so large. And our graduating class is roughly 1,000, and we pack Crawford Stadium with roughly 7,000 people. We don't have an alternate location that can fit all of us, like our gymnasium, for example. So
it's been 30. This year is 30 years since the last time we did graduation inside in our gym. Yeah, 1994 was the last inside graduation for North Penn High School.
How about that? I just said you were the North Penn historian, and here we are.
There we go. It's easy to be a historian when you've been here this long because I was there. So it's not like I'm doing a ton of research all the time. Hey, so, a lot of times people confuse this podcast with Superintendent Live.
Yes, they do.
Mostly because we're always chattering, right? So the podcast, we're featuring our staff and things that are going on in the district, exactly how you described at the beginning. But I have to tell you, I had a little miss here with the President's Day holiday. We normally do our Superintendent Live the Monday after school board meeting.
Hold on. I need you to hit the breaking news sound effect.
There you go.
Okay, breaking news.
Yep.
Bob Gilmer makes mistakes, folks.
By the way, that sound effects are going to be going off multiple times a day.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
So I thought if it's okay with you, we would talk a little bit about school board meeting before we get to our guest, and we can kind of do a twofer in this one. And when people see this, this is part Superintendent Live, part educating with ease. So I just try to get it together here in the same spot. So Thursday, the 15th, February 15th, was our action meeting. We had a couple big items there in the agenda, and I just thought we'd talk about it. I think the biggest thing there is our early bird teachers contract with the NPEA. I don't know if you want to talk about that, how that came about, and what that means for our community.
Yeah, let me kick it off with, if you haven't watched yet, we started with spotlighting Montgomery Elementary students and their philanthropic / volunteer efforts. It was awesome. The kids did such a great job, and it's really an opportunity for us to highlight what the students are doing around our district. So, and just people in general. So loved that. And then, yes, I agree that the collective bargaining agreement, effective July 1 of 2024 for 3 years with the North Penn Education Association, is definitely the highlight of the meeting. And we did it via early bird, as you suggested, which means we started contract discussions prior to when we needed to. We are legally required to initiate those conversations in the January of the year in which the contract is expiring. And we worked together starting in July. It took months and some, I wouldn't even say spirited conversation. It was just collaborative. We worked together. When I say we, I mean the district administration and leadership of the NPEA. And I'm very proud to say this is the first early bird contract in as long as anyone can remember. So no attorneys at the table. We love our attorneys, of course, but no representation from either side. It was just the two groups working together to try to iron out a deal. And we were able to do so in a way in which we keep North Penn competitive, attract, retain the most talented individuals. And I'm excited about it. So first one under my belt as the superintendent. I did negotiate as assistant superintendent once or twice.
I think you already said this. Is it a 3-year agreement? How long is the agreement?
3 years.
All right, so some other personnel-related pieces. We had some reorganization in the administrative ranks. Do you want to talk about those changes?
Yeah, we did. So when I moved from assistant soup to superintendent, I decided at the time that I wanted to take a step back and just kind of really, try the job on for size for a bit, see what's going on from that seat. What do I believe the needs of the district are? And I did not replace myself as assistant superintendent. So when I was assistant superintendent under former guest of the pod and fan of the pod, Dr. Kurt Dietrich, with Deanna Waters, I obviously went through an interview process, a rigorous process, 3 rounds, and ultimately decided, you know what, I'm not going to backfill my position for now. So we let that sit for a good year, and then a year plus, and then eventually I said, you know what, the area in which I think we need the most support right now is in special education. For our staff, for our students, for our families, we just need more support in this area. And I'm not sure that an assistant superintendent is quite on the front lines of those challenges. So in turn, I decided, you know what, we're going to have 2 directors. We're going to split up that job. And we're going to stick with a director of special education for secondary and one for elementary. So it can be a little more targeted, supporting our administrators, our teachers, our support staff in those areas, and forego assistant soup. Then, obviously, we would need someone to kind of maintain the consistency and oversee that. And that's where Dr. Mike McKenna comes in. He was a director of elementary. He is now keeping his responsibilities, but also overseeing special education, the 2 directors there. And his title will now be Chief Academic Officer. So the quick summary here, Bob, is rather than replace assistant superintendent, we created a second director of special education, and then Dr. McKenna took on some additional responsibilities.
All right, very good, great explanation on that. And obviously, we have a new position of which we're filling, so those changes and the effect of those changes will be rippling out here towards the end of the spring and into the end of the school year, and obviously in full gear for next school year. It's not always easy to just instantly create a position and have somebody instantly start in that job. So it's a process for finding the additional person and and getting them on board, and then that transition of what that means for special education will be taking place over the course of several months here, right?
You got it, Bob. And if the person comes from outside, Typically, they need to give 60 days notice. These things take time, from the interview process to the board meeting for approval to those 60 days. Takes a while.
So I want to touch base on two other things. I'm really excited for our guests, and I don't want to make our guests wait much longer.
All right, make it quick.
I want to touch base on two, I think we can say quickly. So if people are looking at the board agenda, they saw that we approved a new contract for transportation services.
Yes, sir.
Just quickly, we put an RFP out, a request for proposal for people and companies to provide pricing on doing our contracted school buses we use. Currently, it's First Student. What did we end up doing, and why'd we do it the way we did? If you can explain what's happening with our contracted services.
Just like everything else in the world, Bob, the cost of transportation has skyrocketed, right? So the cost for fuel, the cost for the buses, the cost for. So we put the RFP out there, and the proposals from those interested in providing those services were far more than we expected, unfortunately. And we believe that competition was limited because we really don't have parking for these buses, right? We don't have additional parking right now. First Student, who is our current contractor, they have property in the North Penn School District to park their buses. So other companies do not. So if we don't have the space for their buses, that means they need to bring their buses back to them, and obviously that's inefficient and rising costs and all those things. So what we decided to do was reject the proposals that we received from all of these companies and extend our deal with First Student. As we have said over and over the last year or two, we're looking to move the transportation facility off-site of North Penn High School, and with that move, hopefully have enough property to park a subcontractor's buses in addition to the North Penn School District buses. So we extended our deal with First Student. They will continue to be our other provider of transportation. They do some of our North Penn runs, but many of our out-of-district runs and non-public runs. And then we'll take a look at it again in 2 years when maybe we can provide that parking.
So there is nothing simple. Nothing is really simple in the North Penn School District.
Nothing. Nothing.
So I think the next one is simple. There's a big headline in the Reporter with our facilities use, our newly renovated Crawford Stadium that opened in 2020, the fall of 2020, and fall of 2021. Spring, we had commencement 20. Good job, historian. 2021, we had graduation. The first full year was the 2021 school year. And we didn't really put out there any rentals for the stadium because we needed to see how we could use it for a year, because now we're adding all these activities we could never do in the stadium before. So just getting a sense of how we use it. We opened it up to the community for track use, those kinds of things. And we have our first big rental coming up next year. Big headline in the paper. Who's coming into our stadium next fall, and how'd that come about?
Great history provided there, Bob. Lansdale Catholic will be having their home football games in Crawford Stadium. And that is something both parties wanted to happen, but we just wanted to look at the facility use. And if you watched the meeting, you saw that one of our board members said, we want to make sure we're not pinching out squeezing anybody out of Crawford Stadium under our North Penn students. And that is not the case. So they've been renting other facilities for years because our field just wasn't up to par. And we were postponing or moving our own events because our field was in such bad shape. So now that we have a state-of-the-art facility down there, they would like to come back and bring it into the same town where their building resides. So ultimately, we're happy to have Lansdale Catholic back. And if you look at the normal fee structure for a recurring and someone we consider to be our colleagues or partners in education, it's expensive to rent because you're renting the scoreboard, you're renting this, you're renting the field, you have the security, you have the blah, 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 on and on and on and on. And the snack stand, you're renting all these separate things. We decided to work with them and just kind of set a flat fee. And if you go outside of the structure that aligns with our policies and administrative regulations, you then need to get board approval to alter those fees. So because we had a mutually agreed upon price, we took that item before the board. They voted unanimously to approve. So we're excited to host Lansdale Catholic in the fall.
All right, very good. So it's a busy afternoon for our guest. Big things coming up. I'm going to slide out of the way as you do your introduction. I want to bring our guest on board. Excited to, you hear it?
Oh, here it comes.
That's his theme. I'm going to get out of the way. Hold on.
There we go. We got the music. Get him out of here. There. See, look at that. I just flicked the rest. He's gone. All right. Really pleased to share with the community one of the assistant principals at North Penn High School. Oh, look at that. that's AI there. They thought I had my hand up because of this pen. Just want to welcome to the pod and to the show, Mr. Kenny Bui. Bring him in. There we go. Listen to that theme music. All right, Kenny. How are you, sir? Welcome to Educating with Ease.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me. This is great.
I heard Bob insist that you are the #1 fan of the pod.
I do like the podcast. I remember that. Yeah, first week I was like, Bob, that was great, and now we're on it, which is pretty cool.
Do you have a favorite episode?
That's a good question. There have been a lot of good episodes. I'd have to say Linda Laws was pretty good, just to kind of hear some great the great legacy that she's leaving behind. So that was good. It was a good history lesson, and Bob kind of supplemented with all of his knowledge of North Penn history. So that was pretty cool.
53 years she's been working here, Kenny. 53. You and I don't even have no concept of that.
It's incredible.
Oh, it's incredible. All right. So all that said, tell us a little bit about, aside from the fact that I introduced you as an assistant principal at North Penn High School, tell us a little bit about Kenny Bui professionally. What brought you to North Penn? Tell us about your journey to a degree.
Sure. So professionally, I actually didn't always think I was going to be a teacher. I was very interested in law. I remember being in high school thinking I was going to go pre-law and apply to law school. And I shadowed like a district attorney when I was a senior in high school as part of something we had, which was a grad project where you had to do an internship. And while I still appreciate that field, it wasn't until my senior in high school someone said, hey, if that's not really your cup of tea, what about education? You know, you love language, you love communication, literacy, and empowering people. So have you ever thought about working with kids? And that was kind of a light bulb moment for me. And from then on, I had this dream to be an educator and work with kids and make a difference in that way. So my undergrad was Penn State University. I had secondary ed. My master's was Del Val, where I had a Master's of Science in Ed Leadership, and my first teaching job, it was high school English. So I worked in a neighboring school district in Bucks County. I was a teacher at a number of schools. I was high school, I was middle school for a little bit, but my bread and butter was Central Bucks High School South, was where I spent most of my time as a teacher. It was interesting because I'm also an alum from there, so I was teaching at my alma mater, but that was great. I taught all levels of English, loved teaching debate, creative writing. I love teaching AP English. That was one of my favorites, but had a love for teaching and working with kids.
So this symbol in our classrooms usually means brain match. So Kenny, your path and my path, listen to this. I went to Souderton. I ended up teaching at Souderton. I taught middle school. I taught high school. I taught AP classes. I ended up going to CB South, where I was an assistant principal, and ultimately my path led me to the great North Penn, and here we are.
Right.
So similar paths here. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So similar path of just, I had bounced around in different schools, but most of my time was at CB South, and an opportunity came up to fill in for a house principal there. So I did that for a little bit, and it was a great opportunity to be in a leadership role. And from there, I moved to one of our middle schools that fed into that high school, and I was the assistant principal there, and that was a great experience. And but the thing about it was I worked at my alma mater. The middle school where I was an assistant principal is where my wife went when she was a kid. We actually met in high school and have been together ever since. And so I was like, wow, this is great. This is my hometowns, my wife's old school that I'm working at, but it was kind of all I ever knew. So for me, it was a really good point in my career to branch out, broaden some horizons. And North Penn has always been, a neighboring district where not too far from where I was working and living, but just a different district. And just I knew that switching things up, I would see different things and experience, working with, different people. And so that was a great opportunity that I wanted to pursue. And so I'm here in year 2 now in North Penn, and I'm really enjoying my time at the high school as an assistant principal.
Got it. All right. Well, let's bring back here. You get to hear his theme music. Let's bring back Mr. Bob Gilmer. Come on in, Bob. There he is. Bob, you need to do your shimmy. A little shimmy. There it is. He's back.
I got the funky beat. That's why.
Yeah.
I gotta get. That's not very funky. This isn't funky.
Yeah, I love it.
I gotta figure out some funk.
I love it.
Signature move. I'm not cool enough to have a signature move. That said, all right. So we heard a little bit about Kenny from a professional standpoint. Let's hear a little bit about personal Kenny. So you mentioned your wife in that answer, but tell us a little bit about who you are outside of work.
Sure. So outside of work, we live in Philadelphia area. We've been there for 5 years now. We really like it. It's the Chestnut Hill area, so it's not exactly the city, but our mailing address is Philadelphia. So
Sure.
people are like, "Oh, you're living in the city." No, we're like on the outskirts of the city, but it's 30 minutes from work. But we really love that area. There's lots to do there. We're also still equidistant from the city if there are things we want to do there, and family that still live in the suburbs. I shared that my wife and I met in high school. We were like arts, music, theater kids growing up. So we met doing those kinds of things. And we still have that interest. We love seeing Broadway shows. We love live theater. So we're always doing that. We were just actually in New York last weekend seeing a show. So yeah, definitely appreciative of the arts. And it's always great to see the shows here at North Penn as well. Aside of that, we love going to the beach. We love going down to the shore. We go to Strathmere, which is in between Ocean City and Sea Isle. And yeah, family's both important to both myself and my wife. We come from huge families. My mom's one of 10. My dad's one of 10.
Whoa.
Yeah, and her family's huge too.
You have
Huge.
Your mom and dad are both one of 10?
They are both one of 10.
Wow.
And Boy is a super common last name. And so my mom's maiden name actually is Boy. Not related at all. It just it's
all right.
From huge families. So there are a lot of boys, and my wife comes from huge families too.
Wow.
So funny, I just heard this yesterday.
Yes.
New trustee of the North Penn Education Foundation, Bob. Here's a history lesson in North Penn. Local business owner owns a fitness studio of some sort. Carly Myers, right? She's right there in Main Street, near like Stove and Tap, Backyard Beans, that kind of thing. Carly, whose last maiden name is Myers, married a graduate of North Penn, last name Myers. So her name after getting married is also Carly Myers. So instead of local eats, that's a local business owner. However, similar to the Boy family, her
Yes.
last name did not change when she got married. How about that?
Yes. My mom jokes. She's like, yeah, I never changed my name. I never did the paperwork.
I refuse to change my name.
That's right. All right. So Bob, you were insistent. We got to get Kenny Bui on.
Yes.
On. Tell me a little bit about Kenny Bui from Bob's perspective.
Oh
and
my
why we
gosh.
had to have him as a guest.
So this Kenny just going down the hallways every day just brings so much energy and positivity to the building. It's awesome. Since the moment you walked in the door, I've loved having Kenny here. His relationship with students. I don't know that I've ever seen Kenny angry or sad. It was funny the other day. I wanted to talk to Kenny because I hadn't talked to him in a while, and I'm like, I just want to check in with Kenny. And then he stopped. I guess he stopped by, or Mary said something to him where he's like, Bob really needs to talk to you. And so he came into me and he's like, are you all right? Is everything okay? He's checking on me. Like, no, I'm checking in on you. And I literally was like, did I have a problem? Was there a problem I needed to talk to Kenny about? And we both were kind of like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
And I think you were live on a show too. You were like live doing a show, and I was like, I'm just checking in, Bob.
So we're both okay, but having you in the building is amazing. And I think, working with the students and seeing all those interactions, I love it. And it's just great energy in the building. So, and he's a fan of the pod. So
yeah. So anyone who's a fan of the pod has to reach out to Bob. Oh, speaking of Bob, I got a message this weekend from none other than the mayor of North Penn, Ben Hartranft.
Oh, Ben got a hold of you?
How about that? And Ben
He's the most persistent person to get a point across. I will tell you that. I get emails from Ben frequently.
Yeah, I mean, just some examples. Ben told me he was going to ride roller coasters with Jason Kelsey.
Got it done.
And I was like, yeah, sure you are.
Yep.
He did. He said he was going to be on the Ellen show. Yeah, sure you are,
Got it
Ben.
done.
He got it done. He said he was going to be a contestant and a winner on The Price is Right.
Guess what?
Got that done. And then he said he was going to meet President Biden. And okay, I was like, all right, that's enough. Okay, Ben, this is not. He met the president.
You got it done.
So now his next future ambition is being a guest on the pod like Kenny Bui.
Oh,
I guess.
well, let's see. We might maybe we'll break that streak. I don't know, Dr. Bauer.
But if any faithful listeners either want to be a guest or would like to see a certain guest, please drop us a line. Put it in the comments on Facebook, YouTube. Send us an email. But anyway, all right, Kenny, tell me this. You've mentioned that you've been in multiple schools, multiple districts. What is one thing about North Penn that is unlike anywhere else?
I would say the level of student engagement and student empowerment at North Penn is pretty unique. You know, when I see our students running their cultural clubs or, you know, all the extracurriculars that some schools don't have a Bengali club or a Vietnamese club or a Korean club or, you know, it's really interesting to me. That was super new to me. I've worked in 5 different schools, and I've never worked in a school that has had these kinds of cultural clubs where I see families coming in being like, wow, our culture is being celebrated right now, and we're sharing this food. Like, I think we see that in a lot of districts, but not to the level that I've seen our students take it to in the high school and, you know, in the middle schools and elementary schools as well. But that is something that just stands out to me. It makes me very proud, you know, to work for North Penn, to see students just celebrating their culture in that way. It's incredible, and it's all student-led, and we're just guiding and facilitating and supporting students, but they're really taking the lead on things. So
beautifully said. And I've said this on multiple podcasts and interviews, as an outsider, I always thought, oh, North Penn, so big, so, you know, big bad North Penn, that's so scary. It is a beautiful thing. That diversity from clubs and activities to people to opportunities to courses. That is strength in numbers, my friend. You know, it really is something special about this place. And there is something, whenever I meet with kids, especially the kids at the high school, in kind of my monthly tours and sitting down with groups of kids, when you ask them, like, what's great? They're like, there's something for everyone here.
Right.
So I agree with you. Great answer. And I also want to compliment the color coordination you got there. You got the Columbia tie on. For those who are listening, Kenny's rocking the Columbia tie, a nice zip up North Penn Athletics. So what's this say? Basketball?
This is just athletics. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So Bob, let's roll into our segments here. We will start with small wins. There we go. All right, Kenny, small wins is just something that has happened to you recently or something you experienced that you're like, you know what, that's a good thing. That makes my life better or the lives of other people better. You get to choose first or last. One of us will be in the middle, but small wins is the first segment.
Sure. I'll go first, if that's all right. I think a small win is just we're in the second half of senior year. You know, and sometimes we have students just stop by like, hey, it's been a while, just checking in. And I'm like, you know, how you doing? And they're just telling me about their year. They're like, you know what? I'm almost there. I'm almost to graduation. And like, they're reflecting like, you know what? I've made a lot of progress. I'm doing much better than, you know, when I was a sophomore, when I was a junior, and I've come a long way. And I'm like, I'm really glad to hear that. And you know, sometimes we don't recognize and think about those moments. We think of like graduation as the big moment, but sometimes for some kids, like right now, they're thinking about, you know what? I've really made some progress and improved. So that's my work-related small win.
I love that one. And it's that time of year. Like, kids start to realize, like, oh my gosh, this is coming to an end here.
Yeah, it's starting to feel real.
Yeah, the maturity, especially when you have this house model where the assistant principals move with the kids.
Yep.
You know, you really get to see that maturation process. It's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. All right, Bob, I'm going to go. My small win is very simple. The air fryer. It's changed my life. The air fryer. You know, when you have children and you got to
Change my life.
Change my life. Heat something up. You know, the toaster. I don't like pulling things out of the toaster. You burn your fingers on the Pop-Tart or the English muffin or whatever. The toaster oven or the main oven takes too long. With that air fryer, man, those chicken fingers, they are heated up in 2 minutes, Bob. The air fryer. Love it. So that's my small win. When I close the drawer in the air fryer and press go, heat up, reheat, I thought to myself, this is a small win.
See, I have to get one. I don't have one. And then my oven recently went down and my blower element burned up. So my small win was finally finding that element. So it's funny that we're both in oven range or cooking area. Here's the one thing that, you know, I found that I got 2 different parts from Amazon, in, out. And they were not the right part, even though all of the part numbers are the same. And I had to ship them back. I had to go up to Allentown to go get a part. So I kind of lament the fact that we used to have like appliance part stores in this area. They're all gone because of Amazon and online stores and all of that. But I was able to drive up to Bethlehem.
Okay.
And then there's a all brand, I think it's called All Brand Appliances up there. Walked in there, they had the part. I got to go get it now, but it's there. So I can use the oven again. It's been a couple weeks. I've been looking for this element. So maybe I should just bought an air fryer all along and just ditch the oven.
Yeah, especially you've been talking about empty nesting.
Right?
Here,
Who needs an oven?
You don't need an oven. You and Cheryl, not enough food. You don't need
just
enough.
air fry everything. We're good.
Beautiful thing. All right. Next segment, we'll go to question of the pod. And I'm pulling an audible here. This is unexpected for the two of you. Just because I heard Kenny. We were going to do question of the week was going to be favorite TV show. But in honor of our guest here, he was speaking of shows. He was talking Broadway and musicals and such and theater. So we're going to go, what is your favorite theater show? It can be a musical, it could be whatever. But what's your favorite show? Kenny, first or last?
I'm going to go last on this one.
You're going to make me go because you don't have one either. All right, I'm going to go.
All right, take it away, Bob.
All right, this is going to sound too much of a homer. I'll be honest, my favorite theater production that I've been to, professional, Broadway, New York, Philadelphia, wherever, was right here in North Penn High School with North Penn High School Theater. And it's probably 15 years ago. We did Children of Eden. I want to say it was like 2009 or 10 when we did that show. I have to tell you, and people know me, I tend to be very critical. Like it's either good or it's okay or whatever. I be critical on things. And I was so emotionally moved by that show, the singing, the acting, the show, that I could not come down to like talk to the cast after. I was in the balcony. I'm like, this is so good. Like I was tearing up. That's how good the show was. And I'm not like that when it comes to most stuff, right? And so I literally I just can't go down and see anybody because I don't want to be weeping when I go to see people. So that's my favorite show. And God's Honest Truth is the best show I've seen that emotionally moved me watching a show, all elements included. And it's not just because I know the kids and those kinds of things. It was a really, really good show.
All right. So mine is a unique answer, and it is not the best show I've ever seen. However, I'll explain. Mine was on Broadway, New York City. I saw Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde, right? I guess it's after the movie with Reese Witherspoon. But I used to coach swimming in a neighboring district, and I coached the boys and girls team. And the ladies wanted to go on a trip to New York City to see Legally Blonde. So it was 28, 35 high school girls from the swimming and diving team. My wife came. A lot of moms came. We took a coach bus up and we went to see Legally Blonde. And there is a song in that musical. It's something like, I'm not really going to try to sing, but it says something to the effect of, oh my God, you guys. Well, the whole bus on the way home changed the word God to the name Todd. And so the girls are all singing, oh my Todd, oh my. And it was just, it's like a memory, kids that I really loved and coached for a long time. And I was dreading the trip, like, oh my gosh, I'm going with all these.
Oh my Todd.
Yeah, like, oh, this is going to be too much. And it was just like one of those heartwarming moments. It's like, this was fun. So that is probably like, it holds a special place in my. I've seen Phantom, I've seen Les Mis, I've seen Rent, I've seen Lion King. But that show, I have such a unique memory with it. So I'm going to say Legally Blonde on Broadway. Kenny, you're up.
That's a great answer. I'm pretty sure that's the opening song, the Oh My Todd song.
I don't remember.
I believe. I could be wrong, but that's a great answer. For me, I've seen a lot of shows and it's so hard to pick. And I never saw the show on Broadway, but I've seen regional performances of it. It's Guys and Dolls. It's this classic golden age musical, very old school, but just one of the first musicals that I was introduced to when I was young and just loved the music. Great story, a lot of slapstick kind of humor, but really, really just classic.
All right.
So as we're talking about theater and all that and wasn't anticipated, I do have to promote North Penn grad Sky Lynch, who is going to be in The Outsiders. Do we remember? Is it in the spring or in the fall when it opens?
Spring.
The spring.
Yeah.
So Sky Lynch, he's a 2012. I should have these facts.
Yes.
But Sky actually worked here. He did the theater, obviously, here at the high school. He was in chorus and all that stuff, but he also worked here on North Penn Television. So if you want to look back in some old morning shows and Dude Reports, etc., Sky's in all those episodes back in the day. So we're excited to see him on Broadway doing awesome. So now we got our whole theater theater thing wrapped in here. We're in extended hours on the podcast right now, Todd. So
Well,
where
we knew this would be a little long.
I know,
right?
because Kenny's so good.
Yeah. All right. And then lastly, local eats. I'm going to go first because I haven't gone first yet. Local eats. I'm going to go small Mexican restaurant. I believe there are multiples. Skipack El Limon. Well known. I don't know. It's probably not a franchise, but there are many of them in the area and they are close by. It is so cost effective, very reasonably priced. They deliver to my house in Harleysville, and El Limon. Love me some El Limon. That's my answer. Locally.
Nice.
Go ahead, Bob. We're going to save Kenny for last.
So I've been wanting to go to the one here in Lansdale. I haven't yet, so I'm eager to get there. But across the street here, I hit lunch a couple times, the Juice Pod. So across the street in the White Shopping Center of the high school here, Juice Pod, they do like juicers and all that kind of stuff. But they have great small like avocado this sandwich and great sandwiches and wraps. So quick lunch, anybody's looking for a Juice Pod across the street here at North Penn High School at the White Shopping Center.
So when you said you were hoping to go, was that the El Limon? Is there one?
El Limon, yeah, sorry. Yours.
I didn't know that was in Lansdale.
Yeah, there's one. It's like right there on Main Street, right?
Oh, okay.
I think it's like near Well Crafted Brewery on the backside. I think that's where it's at.
Gotcha. All right. And then Juice Pod. Never heard, and I will have to stop.
There you go.
All right, Kenny.
Very good. All right, so I'm gonna say Main Street Pizzeria and Grill. Just really great food, super reliable. Right near Backyard Beans, I believe. You said that earlier, but great spot. I just recently ate there with some colleagues, and I had the hot honey wings. Highly recommend.
Okay. Main Street Pizza and Grill, you said?
Yep. Main Street Pizzeria and Grill.
Marking that one down. My son loves him some chicken wings.
Yeah, pretty good.
All right. Well, we appreciate and apologize for the extended episode here of the pod, Kenny. And thanks for listening to the pod, everyone. Thank you for being the #1 fan, Kenny. Bob.
Thank you for putting this together. This was awesome. So appreciate having me.
Kenny Bui, Bob Gilmer, Todd Bauer signing off. Thanks for listening to another episode. We'll see you soon, everyone.